Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, the 28th of December 2023. We're in that horrible period between Christmas and New Year where nothing really works. Anyway, weather is rubbish. The forecast is it should improve. And if we look in the distance, I don't know if you can make this out in the camera, but there is in fact a rainbow. And looking out in the distance, that line of weather, if we're lucky, is going to clear and let us get a ride. So the bike I'm on today is, as usual, my matchless G3L WD, an old dispatch rider bike, dates to 1941. And we're going to be riding with the Vintage and Classic Motorcycle Club, South Links and Peterborough section. This is called the Chilly Willie Run, and I think it probably is going to be a little bit chilly. Anyway, let's get going. Before we get too excited, we need to fill up with gas. I was quite nervous about riding a bike today because I've done a lot of fiddling with the carburetor and the points and the spark plug. But a test of whether it's running well is once she's warm and you come to a stop, will she idle without being lumpy? And so to our rendezvous at the Stippington Diner, just off the old A1, where I find one of the other members, Malcolm, is already there waiting. Morning, Malcolm. How are you? And we're soon joined by Gary and Kay. Well, it seems as though the weather, and Storm Gerrit in particular, has put a lot of people off. But we got 3 bikes and 4 riders, and we're all ready to go. And it's interesting to note that of all the bikes that have braved this, they're all from AMC, which says something about the quality of British workmanship. Provided we can get them started, of course. So we depart on what for us is a fairly short ride of about 30 miles. It's going to take us around the countryside and finish at the Goat in Frognall, which is near Market Depot. And I'm very grateful that Malcolm has agreed to carry a camera for me so we can mix up the shots a little bit. Malcolm, the rider just ahead of me, is riding a matchless G12 CSR competition sprung roadster from 1960. And when he gives it the beans, there's a certain amount of snap, crackle and pop out of the exhaust. And ahead of Malcolm, we have Gary and Kay on an AJS Model 16 from 1952. This is quite similar to my bike, but it's got the benefit of rear suspension. It's a real privilege to be able to ride an 82-year-old bike and get some sense of what it must have been like for the men and women who rode them during the war, out in all weathers and wearing clothing that really wouldn't pass muster these days. We pass through the village of Wansford, well known for its beautiful stone bridge. After a short stint on the A47, we head north to go through the pretty village of Barnack. And as you've probably noticed already, between the three bikes we don't have a single indicator between us. If you're not familiar with this area, you may have noticed the lovely honey-coloured stone that some of the cottages are made from. That's quarried from around here and it's known as Barnack stone. It was also used to build Peterborough Cathedral. We cross the railway line between Barnack and Uffington. This is the Stamford to Peterborough line. Between Uffington and Essendine, we enter the county of Rutland, and very soon afterwards we're nearly taken out by a young lady not in complete control of her car. Her passenger's facial expression says everything. However, we survive and motor on as usual, as though nothing had happened. We now turn onto the fast road between Stamford and Bourne that runs through the villages of Essendine, Carlby and Toft, and we can open up the bikes a bit. "50 miles an hour might not seem much for a modern motorist, but when you're riding something that resembles 2,000 nuts and bolts in close formation on knobbly tyres on a wet road, it's fast enough. As we reach the small village of Toft, Gary turns right and we head off down another windy track. We're now in the last third of our journey, which will see us wend our way across the fens to Market Deeping and the Goat Inn at Frognal. It's hard to explain the attraction of this to people who haven't experienced it, but riding an old British single, thumping away along country roads, avoiding the potholes, throwing yourself into the corners, getting away with things, this is the spice of life, and we love it. And even though the weather's rubbish, the wind is cold, there's a warm fire waiting for us in the pub, we don't really want the ride to end. Well, all good things must come to an end, but at least they come to end in a good pub when you're riding with the VMCC.